Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome to the channel, whether you're brand new or whether you're returning to the channel. Thank you for taking your own time out to check out this video, which we're on to episode 15 of Back to the Fans. Now, last time I did Back to the Fans was a live stream with Rob, which a link is down below if you want to catch up on our playlist of any and all Back to the Fans episode. And today is a treat because I've got such a great friend and such a great, awesome guy joining me on today's episode of Back to the Fans by the name of Pete. Now, Pete, funny enough, we actually met in Blackpool at Future Fanfest, which was the first ever time I'd met Pete, but we'd previously been on an episode of the What the Flux podcast, which again I will leave a link to in the description box below if you want to check that out. But yeah, since then, I met Pete on a day, we got talking, he seems like such a great guy, we've been messaging back and forth and talk pretty much every single day, and I invited him to be part of Back to the Fans, and he said, hell yeah, Mike, let's do it. So, with that straight in mind, let's just dive straight into it. What I want to know is, Pete, firstly, man, introduce yourself to everyone and also tell everyone about the first time you watched Back to the Future and what really made it connect with yourself.
Hi, I'm Pete Hardy. I'm from Dorchester in Dorset in the UK, and I'm a big Back to the Future fan. The first time I watched Back to the Future was probably the early 90s, 1990, 1991. When I was 10 or 11, my sister was looking after me when I was off school, and she went to the local video store and rented Back to the Future. I instantly was amazed by the film. Who didn't want to be Marty McFly? I think what connected me to it more than anything was the time travel aspect of it, and just was absolutely mesmerised by the whole thing with the DeLorean and everything like that. And my sister then said to me, you know, there's 2 more films that have been released, right? And she went straight to the local video shop, rented them, and it kept me amused for the whole day. So it was easy babysitting for her, and I fell in love with the entire trilogy from that moment.
So, that's right. Pete, Handyman Pete from Dorchester, is such an awesome guy, and man, it's so great to hear about the first ever time you watched Back to the Future, because I love that kind of nostalgic feeling, and also the fact that you watched this first time, I think you said like around in the 90s, then your sister apparently told you, or your mum, that there was 2 further films, and it kind of blew your mind by the sounds of it. And yeah, man, I was the exact same when I heard about this was a trilogy. I was like, oh wow, okay, well, I'm going to have to check out the trilogy. But I also like that you rented this movie from the video store, which certainly gives me plenty of memories from, say, like Blockbuster or like the local corner shop that you would rent the video or DVD out every week and it would cost you X amount to do so. Yeah, they were such great times, but I also love that this was kind of like the first ever time that you got to experience the film and the franchise, and since then, you've developed such a huge love for it. Like, that itself is really, really awesome, and I love that about you, man. And yeah, I love that that is such a great experience, and also people may have similar experiences at the first ever time that they checked out Back to the Future also. So what I also want to know from Pete is, because I met him at Future Fanfest, is have you been to any other conventions? But also I want Pete to share his particular story with you about an event he raised and created himself in his local town. So Pete, share some more details, man.
I've been to a few Comic-Cons. Normally I dress up as Marty from Back to the Future 1. I went to the recent Future Fanfest in Blackpool, which was absolutely fantastic. I think my favourite one of all was, it's not a Comic-Con as such, but it was a Back to the Future night that I hosted in our local pub here in Dorchester. We had a DeLorean, and locals all turned up dressed as Back to the Future characters, and we showed the film on a big screen. It was all for charity, and we raised about £800 for Parkinson's UK and for the Michael J. Fox Foundation as well. And it was great because even like my mum dressed up as the Clock Tower lady. It was absolutely fantastic night, and I'm looking forward to Southampton Comic Con in July.
Wow, what an incredible, incredible story. I love the fact that you, Pete, went into your own town, you created this event to raise money for multiple charities, and I also love the fact that your mum took part and actually dressed up as a Back to the Future character. I believe you said the Clock Tower lady. Yeah, that's awesome that you got so many people involved. And when I checked out the footage and the pictures and everything that you took part and you created in this event, what an amazing event. I wish I knew you sooner, because I probably would have took a trip to Dorchester to be there, because I've actually never visited the place itself. One day I will certainly get there. But yeah, what an incredible feat, an incredible achievement, and by the looks of the photos and the videos, the event itself really looked flawless. It looked like it was executed brilliantly, looked like a lot of time, planning and organisation went into that event, and you can tell it really paid off by even me just seeing the footage and the photos, and just the community itself getting involved. Even some people who may not have maybe got into cosplay, getting into cosplay for the event. So that itself, man, I can only applaud you for that. And yeah, wow. That's all I can truly say. So, Pete, my man, honestly, so far it's been a pleasure getting to know you, a little bit more about your own events and a bit about past future events you've been to, which Future Fanfest was awesome, and it was so good that I actually got to meet Pete there. Now, what I would like to know from Pete is, can you show us your collection and the items that you have, and why don't you tell me and others about the tattoo that you've got in a work in progress right now?
So my collection, as you can see, is slowly growing in the background here. We've got like my Nike Air Mags, the cereal, the watch. I've got my Pepsi Perfect, including the disc that the Pepsi Perfect sits on. I've got my hoverboards, all these different things, the almanac, everything like that. I think personally though, my favourite part of my collection is a couple of things that are one-offs, that were made by a friend of mine at United Dog, and he made me a Back to the Future customised chair, and he's made me a Back to the Future customised unit, which my camera is actually currently sat on, but hopefully you'll see a picture of it, which includes a picture of me on there when I was with the DeLorean once. But I think my most favourite part is actually my tattoo. My tattoos I've got is a work in progress. So I have the top half here, which includes the flux capacitor, the DeLorean and the time circuits, and the clock tower, was designed by Eugene Schnee at the What the Flux podcast, as well as having Marty actually on my arm here, soon to have Doc and Einstein put in, and hopefully I'll be able to show you the rest of it when it's finished in the next few months, that I'll be able to show Mike and get to show you guys. So yeah, so the collection is growing. It's pretty big for a very small room. You might see in the background a flickering is the screensaver on my computer, which is all pictures from the movie as well. So basically everything I've got in this room, which is my office for work, is Back to the Future.
Undoubtedly one of the coolest collections I've ever seen, especially those kind of like one-off items, or those one particular items you've got made or your friends made for you, like the chair for example. Yeah, wow, I wish I had a friend who could make me something like that. That is incredible. And also I love the fact that in the small room that you had, as you mentioned, you have such unique and organised and really a pleasant viewing experience of the collection, whether it's the cereal boxes, whether it's the books, whether it is whatever it is, man. Like myself, you know, I've only got a small space around here and a little bit over here, and that is kind of my space I've got for my collection, and that's where it pretty much all sits, to be honest, unless, you know, it's at my mum's house, for example. But I love the fact, man, that this collection is very unique and it's kind of very you also. You know, it speaks to your own personality. It also just kind of accumulates like what a big fan you are, how much you love the franchise, how much you love the movies. And man, the tattoo idea by Eugene is simply incredible. I love the fact that you guys talked over an idea, you then start putting it into place, and you're then starting to get that session by session developed on your arm, and the detail and care and attention put into that work. You can tell it's just truly made with love and passion, and I truly and honestly really respect that. And yeah, I love it, and I'm sure others do as well. So, Pete, my man, with that said, have you got any final words you'd like to say?
It's been a real pleasure to be interviewed by you, Mike. And just to say, if any of you out there want to friend me on Facebook or follow me on Instagram, I've got 2 pages on both. On Facebook, I am Pete Hardy, and also I have my business page, which is Handyman Hardy on Facebook, and on Instagram I'm at the Pete Hardy and also at Handyman Hardy. So give us a follow, give us a like, and I'll speak to you all soon, in the future or the past.
Gotta admit, guys, my absolute pleasure having Pete onto the channel and having him introduced in Back to the Fans episode 15, which that number itself really baffles me every single day. So thank you to every single person that's checked out an episode, checked them all out, the odd ones, or coming to this episode for the first ever time. I truly appreciate you, and I truly appreciate you taking the time out to check out this conversation between me and fellow Back to the Future fans. It is truly, truly awesome, and I love putting together these videos. So what you will find in the description box down below, despite all the Back to the Fans playlists and everything else, is a link tree to Pete Hardy's pages. He has Facebook, he has Instagram, he has an official website. He also has a t-shirt sponsorship for Dorchester as well, which is pretty incredible. But also you'll find him on TikTok, which, yeah, definitely go follow him on TikTok. What a funny, awesome guy. But also on Facebook, because, as I say, he's such a great guy, such a really humble and friendly person, and definitely a friend you want in your life. So what I will say is, Pete, thank you for taking the time out to do this. And guys, if you've watched this video, please drop a big thumbs up button, click that like button, and also click that red subscribe button down below so I can see you again next time, and you get a notification of every time I post a brand new video. But until the next time that I see you, I'll be seeing you later.